Hey, 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 everybody. Good evening. Good evening. I am Lady Des of Real Love Ministries Live, and we are just so super excited about tonight's show. And I want to thank you so much for joining us on tonight for Real Love Ministries Live. Listen, y'all, this month is National Organ Donor Month. And those of you who have been following us for some years now know that we do this every April. Every April, we're out advocating, bringing awareness, just educating our community on organ donation. And once again, I have my sis, my friend, Trish Phillips. Yeah! So many of you in the South Florida area know that she is the program director at AM 1520 WEXY. She is also the CEO and founder of Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation. She is an advocate on organ donation and kidney health. I'm going to let her tell her story, but she also donated her organ to her kidney, matter of fact, to her best friend Kim. So, Trish, how you doing?
I am doing well. It's always an honor and a pleasure that you invite me to your platform. I'm honored to be in the presence of Lady Des. Thank you for that introduction. And according Donate Life America, it is considered Donate Life Month. Is the proper title for it.
Okay.
And we're going to get right down to it today. So I'm honored to be in your presence again and part of your platform.
Same here. Same here. Thank you so much for always accepting the invitation, because you have a wealth of knowledge on organ donation, kidney health. You've been in this for a while. So I think it's only appropriate to have you once again to shed light on this. I don't want to call it epidemic or even a pandemic within our culture. However, but our culture definitely deals a lot with kidney disease, or lack organ donation and all of that good stuff. So before we get into that, just tell everybody who have not met you or don't know anything about you, tell them a little bit about yourself, Kim. I'm sorry, Trish.
Well,
I'm calling you
yes,
Kim.
that's a good thing. That's a good thing. I'll take it. She's part of me and I'm part of her. So I'm Trish and I reside in Fort Lauderdale. I am a living kidney donor. I donated directly to a best friend of mine of 20 plus years. Her name is Kimberly. Kimberly and I are both doing well. December 15th, 2016. 16 was the date of our actual kidney transplant. And so that would put us at 7 years. We are starting, crossing over, trying to make it to that 8th year, which would be December 15th again. And for the most part, I enjoy sharing my story, changing the narrative, educating, and this is why I started MMDF. It is Multicultural Miracle Donor Foundation. But yes, that's a mouthful to say. So better known as MMDF. And reason why I've shared with you before in the past, I started MMDF because we as a race has always had in the mindset of medical mistrust. So with that being said, I could volunteer with coworkers of other races. And when it came down to a person of color, for them to hear why organ donation is important, the information was not received as well. And I noticed my co-volunteer, she had the exact same spiel I had, delivering it to a gentleman. But because I looked like him, Lady Des, that information was better received coming from me. It gave him the notion to see, hey, She looks like me. She's a person of color. So if she can donate and be healthy, if she can explain to me why it's important, maybe I should listen. So with that being said, he saw me, he listened, and I was able to talk to him. And that particular day, in that moment, I knew I had to make a difference. I had to change the narrative. I had to come up with something because he stood there, he listened, he went on to become, to see if he could become a living kidney donor, but he
Mhm.
did register as an organ donor, even when he's deceased. So I was like, okay, so something has to be done. We are out there living kidney donors of color, but we don't always have the voice or the platform. So I said, why not start MMDF? And we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. And I started that in 2021.
Wow. And listen, I'm so glad you did start it because I remember a few years ago, and I know you probably remember too, Trish. And that's how we connected because I was just
Yes.
surfing through the radio channel. And at that particular time, I just had surgery. You remember
Yes.
on my kidney because as I began to get older, my body just started accumulating kidney stones and it was just extremely painful. And I had my first surgery, and I'm surfing through the radio, and boom, I hear somebody talking about kidney health,
Mm-hmm.
kidney disease, organ donation. And it just really sparked my attention. So I continued to listen and I was like, I have to speak to this lady. I don't know who she is, but I'm going to look her up. And you was giving out your information. And then when
Mm-hmm.
you go to the doctor, tell them this is the test you need. And
Yes.
you was just going on and on. And I was like, wow. And 4 years later, 3 years later, 3 or 4
Yes.
years later, here we are again connected giving education and bringing awareness about this because when I went through my challenges with the kidney stones, it sparked me to want to tell others, to listen, take care of your kidney health.
Right.
They couldn't tell, although they couldn't tell me what caused me to start developing the kidney stones. I just knew that this was something very important
Mm-hmm.
because the pain that I felt as far as my kidneys, I didn't want anybody else to feel that pain.
Right.
And a few years later, matter of fact, last year I gave you a call to let you know
Mm-hmm.
what was going on with my husband, not
Right.
knowing, we're on here talking about, kidney health and kidney donation, not knowing that it will hit me right in my own house
Mm-hmm.
where my husband is stage 5 kidney retinal failure. And they told him that he has to do dialysis, no ifs, ands, buts about it. And that just didn't not stick with me at all. I prayed about it. I called my mother-in-law. We went to go see a doctor. And the doctor told him, yeah, your kidneys are bad. However, I'm not putting you on dialysis. And still to this very day, he's nurturing the kidney.
Mm-hmm.
He's not been on dialysis. However, he is now on the transplant list. And he's going through his evaluations and everything
Right.
for the transplant. And I had to call my girl Trish to get
Yes.
some insight because I was very concerned. So, Trish, tell us how that journey is as far as going through being a living donor, because I said that I would be a living donor. And also my children was like, yeah, we're going to get tested. We'll
Mhm.
give a kidney as well. And some people have so many misconceptions about being a living donor. So
Right.
you're a living donor. Take us through that journey.
Okay. Well, since you brought up the radio show, the weekly kidney awareness show, I just want to give a shameless plug because I can say without my radio show sponsor, I may not have had the voice or the platform to even believe in myself and to do it. So I want to thank Darcy Jackson Roofing and Waterproofing
Yes.
who approached me, people who are not in South Florida don't realize that's one of the largest African American owned roofing companies.
Roofing
And
companies. Yes.
their family was plagued with kidney disease, and family suffering and needed organ transplants as well, kidney transplants. So they approached me once they found out that I was a living kidney donor. They said, "Hey, why don't you start a show and inform everyone and educate everyone?" And I tell everyone over and over, I'm not a medical doctor. Please check with your physicians. If you're in pain, go to the ER. Everything I'm giving is just knowledge or experience or things that I research. And I have spoke to several of Radio Land's physicians. They've called me from their doctor's office. So I just want to thank Darcy Jackson Roofing and Waterproofing, because without them, I would not have started the show. And people think because I work there, I'm the general manager, they think, oh, she just gets a radio show for free. No, you being a radio sister, that does not work. That's not how it goes. So they fund and have paid for my show since March 14th of 2018. That was my first show, yes, and they're still supporting it and funding it now. So I wanted to say that. And for those of you who are out there wondering about becoming a living donor, it's not for everyone, but I'm always here for advice to walk you through it. But it's also a blessing in disguise. The reason why I say that, Lady Des, because you get of course, they're going to put you through strenuous tests, medical tests, because they want to make sure you're healthy enough to survive with just one kidney after donation. So it's like you're trying out for the A team. It's that intense, but it's to make sure you can survive and you're healthy enough. So people who go through these tests, if there's something you didn't know, just maybe you had a tumor or some form of cancer you didn't know about, 9 times out of 10, it's going to be discovered. So it's also like a blessing in disguise because you're getting a clean bill of health. Of course, they can't say, oh, 100%, we're going to find something. But chances are, if there's something there, they are going to catch it. So you will go through your labs. That's the biggest thing. All of the blood work. That is the biggest thing. I'm not going to tell you how many. I started calling them vampires because it was so many vials that you have to give. So not only do you do the blood work, you have to do the psych eval, you meet with a dietitian, you do a CT scan, pap smear, colonoscopy. It's all different things, but it is to take you through a situation to make sure you're healthy enough, like I said just a few seconds ago. And it's intense, but it's so well worth it, because if you could save a loved one, even a stranger, or give somebody a better quality of life, wouldn't you want to do it, especially if you know the person? So it's a no-brainer.
Absolutely.
It's a no-brainer, because just think about it. You yourself or a loved one, whether it's your mom, your dad, your significant other, your siblings, it doesn't matter who may need it, but just put yourself in those shoes and just think about it. You would want to do something. So it was a no-brainer. So that alone, and what I need to make sure everyone know, you're not responsible for these tests. A lot of people are under the assumption that, oh, maybe I shouldn't try to donate, because if I donate, oh, I'm going to have to use my insurance, or it's going to be expensive. I have to come out of the pocket. No, you do not. It is covered under the recipient's umbrella or the healthcare system. It is not out of your pocket.
Wow, that's good to know. And I don't think we had brought that up the last time, Trish. So can you go a little bit more into that as far as the coverage and the health insurance and different things of that sort, because sometimes a lot of people don't go to the doctor, or they don't go further because they feel like they're not going to have the finances or the coverage to get all of this done.
Okay, with that, like I was saying, it varies. It could be under the recipient's insurance. Kimberly's husband happened to work for the Broward County, so he had amazing insurance. So everything was covered under that. But if your recipient doesn't have coverage, the government has health care, and it depends, because what I did not mention, if you're not a direct match, a lot of us also, we tend to shy away because not only the medical mistrust, we may think we're not a match, and we may not be a match. There's a such thing as a paired exchange program or voucher program, and I'm a living kidney donor mentor through NKDO. So, which is another foundation, and then the transplants are done through National Kidney Registry. So if anyone wants more information, they would just reach out to me, and don't hesitate or worry about, oh, I'm going to have to pay money, because that's not the case. So it's a little bit more detailed. And if anyone's interested in that, they would just reach out to me.
Awesome, awesome. And you know what? We're going to be giving your information out throughout the show. Can you just let everybody know how they can reach out to you?
Okay, the best way to reach out to me is through all social media handles. I respond to that faster because I'm usually online, but they can email me at Trish, TRISH, at M as in Mary, M as in Mary, D as in dog, foundation.com. That's Trish at mmdfoundation.com. And there, we do have a phone number if they need the phone number as well.
Okay. So would you like to give your phone number out over the air?
Sure. It's posted on MMDF's Facebook page, but it is 954 area code 303 6053. Once again, that all important number is area code 954 303 6053.
Awesome. And it's scrolling at the bottom. So if you all didn't catch it then, it's at the bottom. So as it scrolls, you can just jot it down, take a picture of it, however, but get connected to Trish. So Trish, let's continue our conversation on this. You are a living donor.
Mm-hmm.
Did you have any side effects, any issues after the surgery?
Well, you know what, Desiree, I'm going to be honest. With any surgery, even getting your tonsils pulled, getting your root canals, any surgery, plastic surgery, there's a risk with everything. So they inform you of the risk. They can be as many anywhere as just gas in your shoulder from the carbon dioxide. It could be as something as a hernia. And when I say I just had maybe being very lethargic, I guess low energy. When I say that if I had any side effects, as far as the females, one of the things they tell you, you could have irregular menstrual cycles. So yes, I did have that. But with my side effects that happened, I would say I would grow and donate 10 more kidneys if I could. I would do it all over. The side effects did not outweigh me saving and extending and giving a better quality of life to Kimberly. Mm-hmm. There, of course, there were some, what do you call it? Muscle soreness, nerve, it's like weird, like a numb nerve. And the biggest thing that I had, and now all donors are different. Some donors didn't have anything. Some had the gas pain in the stomach and the shoulder. So not everybody has side effects. The side effects. Statistics show there are more positive outcomes than there are side effects. But the biggest complaint for me was my stomach was numb up to 6 months. And when I tell you it was itching inwardly and I couldn't do anything, the biggest lifesaver for that problem, I had to get a old school hairbrush with the bristles, not the
Wow.
hard plastic ones, and just
Uh-huh.
rub it, and that in my head would work it. That
Really?
wouldn't get rid of it. But that was the biggest thing, was the numbness in my belly, and then going on a car ride afterwards, because I donated, as most of you know, in Tampa, at Tampa General, and I reside in Fort Lauderdale. So those 3.5 hours, 4 hours coming back, they were not the nicest thing. I had a pillow here and I had an abdominal binder that was a lifesaver. So that was my biggest side effects. I did lose my appetite, but for the most part, you are wanting to take naps. So, but other than that, I did have a desk job.
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to return back to work a little faster than someone who may work at UPS. So it depends on your healing process of each individual. And most importantly, to listen to what your doctor tells you. That's the most
Absolutely.
important part.
Yes, and you said something about, you know, the risk of the transplant, and actually our doctor, they were more for the transplant than dialysis. They were like, listen, we're going to nurse this kidney back to health until
Mhm.
you get this transplant, because I prefer the transplant rather than dialysis. And because just the risk is just so much smaller than going through the dialysis, and the risk factor of the dialysis and how it
Right.
makes them feel, and the discoloration, and so many
Correct.
other factors. So
And it's brutal because with the dialysis, you're literally pulling your blood out to clean it and then
then
refunnel it
putting it
back
back
in.
in.
Yeah. So it's, to me, another thing that I noticed with people of color, Lady Des, we
Mm-hmm.
tend to celebrate the moment when we're on dialysis. Like, this is the only thing we can get. We are not educated or aware that there are alternatives, and this is why organ transplantation is important. Of course, we can receive a kidney from another race, from a Caucasian person, but it's better matched when it comes from someone that's of your same makeup. So this is a thing too, and we think that dialysis is the saving grace. There is life out of dialysis and outside of dialysis. That's not the end all. That should not be the goal. And the biggest thing with MMDF, I tend to try to educate that if you're looking for a donor, don't hesitate, because you know the saying, closed mouths don't get
Don't
fed.
get fed. Yeah.
This is a common term for us. So what we need to realize, Kimberly never asked me, and it's an awkward thing, and I put myself in the recipient's shoes. It's hard. You're asking someone to give up body part. So therefore, you need to ask. If you're not ready to ask, there's a company, Wearing My Truth. She pushes the best shirts, car bumpers, Facebook, and even with NKR, there's a such thing as microsites. They help you. And this is part of under my NKDO umbrella, with me being a
Mm-hmm.
mentor. So there's ways. And the biggest take all from this is with the education. Well, we'll get to that later. I'm sure, because we can talk back
No,
on. I did
right.
say that was one of your questions about the state.
Uh-huh.
So I will wait until we get there. But it is okay to ask. It's
And
okay to ask.
you're absolutely correct. Let's go back a little bit, because I think we
Mhm.
put the horse before, no, the what, how's
The
that
carriage
saying?
before the horse. The
Before the
carriage,
horse. Um
yes.
Pretty much. But let's go back a little bit and let's talk about kidney health and why
Mhm.
it is so important to take care of your kidneys and also to go to the doctor so
Mhm.
we won't even have to go through transplant and dialysis. Just let's go back and just how
Okay.
important, because that's something also in our culture, in our community, that we don't like to go to the doctor.
Mhm.
You know, we're afraid either to have bad news or whatever the
The medical
reasoning is.
mistrust. Mhm.
Right. You know, the fear of the unknown. We don't like to go to the doctor, and it becomes worse than what it could have been if we just
Right.
went, at the very beginning when we first started
Right.
feeling it. So tell everybody, how important is kidney health and going to the doctor?
Okay. With MMDF, we try to make sure not only, of course, organ donation is important, becoming living a living or deceased organ, but what we try to educate on is prevention, because our race, it runs rapid the leading risk factors of CKD, chronic kidney disease, is high blood pressure, diabetes, being
Yes.
overweight, obesity. Those are the leading risk factors. So if we can get those under control as a race, that would help prevent CKD. And it is very important for us to get tested, because getting tested early can prevent and save lives, as we know. And it's just two simple tests. It's the urine test, which is the ACR. Everyone here in South Florida knows, I can drill this, drill this, drill
Yes.
this. Those three alphabets, which is the urine test, is ACR. ACR. This is what you ask. The other one, it's a little bit changed up now, but that test was GFR. They're changing the way the GFR is read because of the levels and numbers are different for people of color. But the blood test, the simple blood test, is GFR, even if you're getting a swab. Now, everyone should get checked annually. But even if you have zero symptoms, because it can be without symptoms, even
Yes.
if you don't have any symptoms, it is still important to go to the doctor. And if you are on this live with me now and you are feeling any discomfort or any pain, you can watch the replay. Get off this live now and take yourself to an urgent care or an ER. If they're open here in South Florida, they're open everywhere. So it is important. And the biggest thing that I always hear from someone, for my listeners and followers, they have the back pain in the flank. They're not
Mm-hmm.
sure if it's a UTI, urinary tract infection, or their color of their union. And once again, I am not a medical doctor or a medical health care professional. Please seek that from those who are. But if your urine is cloudy, smelling sweet, smelling like ammonia, a weird color, and you are in pain, you need to not be on this Zoom or this live platform. So
Absolutely.
I have had so many of Radioland listeners that have called me from their doctor's office. And what has touched me the most, Lady Des, is the doctor getting on the phone for one of my loyal listeners. And he said he wanted to hear the voice, or who is this client or this person that got their patient into the doctor's office and asking for these tests because they could never get them to come.
Wow.
That is impactful. Just to
Absolutely.
know that I can touch someone out there listening.
Absolutely. Listen, because you were saying a whole lot of things that I needed to hear. And that's why I was like, I have to reach out to this lady. I got to see who she is. And
Thank
you was,
you.
yeah, even this was some years ago. You were saying the same. Call your doctor, or if you're at the doctor's office, call me, and I will tell them what tests you need. It was like you were so adamant in
Yes.
helping um the patient or the client of what they need to ask for, because a lot of times when you go to the doctor, you don't know. You have
Right.
no idea. You're just going by, whatever they say or whatever they tell you to do. But it's a good thing when you're live on the air and you're putting out this information to our community and educating them on, this is what you need to ask for. Go into
Mm-hmm.
that doctor's office and say X, Y, and Z. And like you said, it will come up at a spur of a moment. It's no, like, I had no symptoms. I had no symptoms at all. All I know that I started feeling hard pain all of a sudden. All of a
Mm.
sudden. And it was so bad that I had to go. I had to go and see what was going on. And not in a million years, I still did not think kidney. I did have the left back flank pain and everything. I had that, but it still didn't dawn on me that this could be a kidney issue
Yes.
at all. So if,
Mm-hmm.
like you said, if you're feeling that pain, if you're having discomfort, if your urine is a certain color, get off the live and go to the emergency room right away. Don't even go to urgent care, because sometimes
Right.
urgent care doesn't have all the equipment that you need. And don't
Mm-hmm.
be like me, because that's what I did. I went to urgent care and they only could help me but so far.
Right.
And I was in so much pain, they had to put me into an ambulance and take me to the emergency room so I can get the rest of care and testing done so they'll know what they needed to do for me. So go straight to the emergency room.
Yes.
You can get the proper care and help right away, because listen, I don't want anyone else to go through that pain. Don't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Do not wait. Once you start feeling it, go, because I'm telling you,
Right.
it'll get you up off
Yes.
your feet to
And
go.
I remember when you called me, and I'm not going to discount it was when it was an honor because people who are not from here, they don't realize you're very well known with your own podcast, and you
Mhm,
are a radio sister. You work at a
mhm.
fellow sister station. Well, it's not our sister station, but in Miami, you're at a AM station in Miami. So
Right.
for you to call and tell me you heard a show and I was doing a great job, I was honored. Because I used to
Wow.
listen to you and your husband on Sundays. I would watch it
On
on
Saturdays. It was Saturdays.
Saturdays.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so I'm honored that she was
Wow.
even listening to me and took
Mhm.
something I said, even if it was a grain of salt. You called me.
Yes, yes. Because I mean, like I said, what you were saying was so on point, and it was some other things that I didn't know, and all I know that I was researching this thing to help in a community where
Mhm.
we won't have to go through this anymore.
Yes.
At least we'll do our part in getting the word out and getting educated. Let me go to the comments. We have a few
Okay.
comments here. Her thriving power. That's my girl TC. She's saying praise God. Tyrus Dowdell. If I'm mispronouncing your name, I apologize. And she says, just amazing. Wonder Woman live in person. Thank you so much. Miss Trish Phillips is an amazing woman who is shedding light on a very serious part of our community. We need people to listen and support Miss Phillips, her quest to find help, on her quest to find help donors for this cause,
Oh,
to find
thank you for
donors
those
basically for
comments.
this cause. And Melissa Bias, so true. I'm a 3-time kidney transplant recipient.
Yes,
Wow.
Melissa's amazing too. She's a big advocate in the recipient world. Thank you, Melissa and
Hello,
Taurus
Glenn.
and TC.
Hello.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you all so much for joining and being a part of this conversation. So, what is the ratio of kidney health among our minorities?
You know what's alarming? It is over 105,000, yeah, 105,000 people that are waiting on life saving organ transplants. But that's not the alarming part. The alarming part of that 105,000 is 60% of people that are of color. That's not even 50%. That's not even half. That's above half.
Wow. Yes, yes.
60%. And that is shocking and alarming. I wish I had a magic wand to go around changing these stats. But as you know how passionate I am, it is very alarming, and why it gets frustrating for me, because people think getting on the well, first of all, getting on dialysis and then just getting on the transplant list, this is it. That's not the end all. There's help for us.
Right.
And only if we knew the knowledge. And a lot of people of color who are at the dialysis centers or their transplant lists, they're not educated. They're not fed the information on how to find a living donor or what to do. So this is why I definitely had to start MMDF. Besides, the information is better received coming from someone who looks like you.
Okay, so looking at the ratio of kidney health, um, and we're going to go even into the organ donor and organ donation.
Mhm.
Why is it important to donate? So if we have someone here that is on the fence about donating, and should I donate, should I not donate? And we're going to go further into like the myths, but we're going to take it step by step.
Okay.
So those that are actually on the fence about donating, or should I be a donor, or maybe I'll just wait till I die, or however the
Mhm.
case may be, why is it important after hearing those numbers, those stats? Why is it so important for us to be organ donors?
Okay. If you're out there listening, I'm going to ask you, if you're on the fence, take a moment, even if you don't close your eyes for real, just close them for a second. Picture and envision you, yourself, your significant other, whether it's your husband, your wife, your mother, your father, even your child or friend, like in my case. Wouldn't you want someone to step up to the plate and save your life or their life? Take a moment and let that sink in. Now open your eyes. Now ask yourself, if you can make a difference, like I asked, why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Especially if you are in need. This is why it's important for you to put yourself in those shoes. Of course, like I said, we can have organs from other races, but we can lower the stats, make a change, bring diversity where the organs will actually function better because it's our makeup.
Absolutely.
And you could do this. You have people like me. I have a board, I have ambassadors, and not only MMDF, there are other organizations. Even if you are someone of Latin descent, I have board members. Pacific Islander or Asian, we have it covered. And if I can't help you, sit down and talk to you, somebody else can. If you have questions or concerns, if I don't know the answer, you better believe I'm going to research it. I love helping people. I do this because I have a passion, and I know for a fact God called me this. So I am grateful. What I didn't tell you earlier, Kimberly gave me a second chance of life, not only because I'm able to remain healthier. I went through the 18 medical training, that's what I call it. But it gives you a new lease on life. You want to stay healthier. She saved my life. I have a purpose. I'm so passionate about this. It is my calling. And when I tell you, Lady Des, if I don't get $1 in donations or ever a salary, the joy this brings me and the impact I make on changing someone's life or informing them is remarkable. I could do this the rest of my life, even if I had to live under a bridge. because to make a difference and bring diversity and change everything, the narrative is freaking priceless. It's
Yeah.
priceless.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have always been passionate about this. You have been consistent over the years about bringing this awareness to our people, to the community, not only our people, whoever needed the assistance and whoever needed to hear it. So your passion exudes from you, and it is felt, because I'm telling you, like, I go back, I felt that, and that was my reason for wanting to connect, because I knew that you had something that I need. And I know it's so many others that you have helped and reached out. You showed what you were about, with Kimberly. And I told you this before, there's only special type of people that can really do that at a drop of a hat. Like, no thought. No, I'm going to help, because you knew that you were able to do that. So only special people have that capability, and there's so many special superheroes out there that can save a life. I had another question and I can't even remember now, because I'm just so
Because you know how we both can go off on a tangent. So
yes. Yes, and it's just, it's like I said, we're sowing the seed. We're putting it out there. We're sowing that seed in the ground, and we just pray that those that listen, that they take it in, because although I was doing this before my husband, it just hits differently when it hits
mhm,
your house.
yes,
When it hits, it makes you, and I get it. I get what you're saying, that Kimberly gave you life, because it does make you look at life completely different.
yes.
Things you may have taken for granted, you know, and you used the example of, I wasn't taking care of my own health. It made me be more conscious about what I'm eating and what I'm putting
Oh
into my body.
yes. I had a
So,
problem with Desi. Speaking of, when I was a firefighter, I was
uh-huh.
popping NSAIDs like they were Tic Tacs or
Wow.
or candy. NSAIDs are ibuprofen, Aleve, Motrin, and that particular form of OTC over the counter can impact your kidneys.
Kidneys, yeah.
So that is one thing that doctors recommend you to monitor and try to avoid as a living kidney donor. So that was one thing, and I now know that it's I'm not going to take any NSAIDs if I had to.
Right, right. And even myself, I try to stay away from the ibuprofens, the
Hmm.
Aleve, and those different brands of medication,
Hmm.
because they do have a hard effect actually on your kidneys.
Yes.
Yes. So let's go on, because I remember the question that I wanted to ask.
Okay.
And we were talking about, the low rate in our community of donations. What are some of the myths that we need to kind of just dispel, that people have, it's going to be holes in my body at my funeral, you know,
Yes,
it's just,
they run
a
rampant.
whole lot of different myths that
Yes.
we hear, that
Well, I
people
want to,
actually believe.
yes, one of the biggest ones that I meet everywhere I go, no matter where I speak, especially in the church organizations and at the Broward County libraries. So let me debunk this and unpack it. The biggest one is no one wants to put organ donation on their driver's license because the paramedics are going to let them die. Okay,
Yep.
so let's unpack this here. This one's my favorite. So let me settle back. So when it comes to this, first of all, Florida, you no longer are required to put organ donor on your driver's license. I was an organ donor, but it was not on my it was not on my driver's license, because if something happened to me before I could donate to Kimberly, she may not have gotten it. So that's one thing. But paramedics have taken an oath. They have sworn an oath. They have due regard to make sure they save a life.
Life.
They're
Yeah.
not going to, like, how many times have you seen a paramedic, If you're in a situation digging through and ransacking looking for your ID, this doesn't happen. So, with that being said, they are going to make sure they have due regard and treat you because they take an oath. Then we have the old one, oh, but the ER doctors are they're gonna let us die
Right.
so
Yeah.
they can get our kidneys and our organs. First of all, people, newsflash, organ donation is a different organ procurement team. So that's a different medical team than the ER staff. There is no medical team hiding out in the emergency room waiting. Ooh, Lady Des is coming in. Let's make sure she dies so I can get all her organs. Take that out the window. It's a whole different organ procurement team, which is a medical team. You have to go in a way. There's so many organ donors that's registered as deceased. But if God does not allow you, or your higher power does not allow you to go in a certain way where you're just brain dead, you have to have brain death. Everything else, people, have to be viable. That means functioning, pumping
Mhm.
blood through it, alive. Organs have to be viable. So
Yes.
if they're letting you die on the side of the road, like everyone has confronted me about, your organs will not be any good. They need to make sure they keep you viable, your organs, your blood pumping. So it's a different organ procurement team. Everyone takes a oath, and they are not going to just let you die because you have organ donation on your driver's license. So that is the biggest one. Then the others are you can't have an open casket. And we know that is not true.
Right.
Because first of all, how would they, even if you are a skin and tissue donor, you are not getting buried naked.
Right.
So I have to explain this to people too. They're like, well, what if I'm a skin or tissue donor? Most people have never been buried naked, even if your body is in a situation where you can't be buried with clothing on 9 times out of 10. You may not be an organ donor, or maybe just the eyes, the corneas, or the retinas. It may be just something that's that. But those are the biggest myths that I hear over and over and over. And
Absolutely.
all
And
religions, mostly all of them accept this. Even Jehovah Witness, you just have to go through your church organization. But it's maddening. It is alarming. The driver's license one is the most.
yes, yes. And I don't know if you ever knew this. I don't know if I ever told you, but that's what I did for the past 19 and a half years. And I've heard it all at the driver's license office. I've
Okay.
um we actually dealt with all of that. So and that's why I know that it's a whole lot of myths out there that
Mhm.
causes people to say no, or even come back and say take it off because they're gonna kill me.
Right.
We just heard so much. Now uh, our time is running out.
Yes.
We have
As
about 10
usual.
minutes. Yeah. We have about 10 minutes. What I know you were naming some of the things that we can donate as a living donor. Can you
Okay. As
what
a
are the
living donor, of course, kidney,
yes.
bone marrow, and you can also give a percentage of your liver, which the liver regenerates. Lower
Yes.
lobes are usually the most common, a certain percent, and they do grow back, regenerate back, I should say. And I know a lot of transplant centers are now dealing with donor eggs and placentas. That's not as
Mhm.
common, but definitely I know tons of living liver donors. I know several personally double donors. They are called double donors, or double D's. So yes, those are the most common of the two.
Okay. And you know what? I don't think we covered this. What are the steps? So say for instance, someone is on here right now and they were like, you know what? I really want to save a life. I want to know what I can do to help. What are the steps for them to become an organ donor?
Living or deceased? Because deceased, all you would have to do is register with your
Do
state
both.
or go to donatelife.org. Okay. If you're
Yeah.
trying to be a deceased donor, because it's not for becoming a living donor is not for everyone. And I don't like to push either. I give the information and then I help and assist on which one you want, which path you want to take. But the main registry is donatelife.org, and you can register that way. If you're interested in becoming a living kidney donor, all you would need to do is just reach out to me and I'll make sure I take you through NKDO program where I am a living kidney donor mentor.
Awesome, awesome. And you know, if you're deciding to be a kidney donor or organ donor, listen, go to donatelife.org. Donatelife.org. Also at the bottom of the screen, Trish email as well as her phone number is scrolling there. If you have any other questions or concerns, let me tell you, she is the perfect person that can answer them. If she don't know them, she can direct you to someone who can help. Trust me, she is
Right.
very good at what she does. I've been working with her for the last 3 to 4 years on
Three for
this.
sure. It's going on
Three,
four. It's
going on
going on
4 years.
yes.
Yeah, so she is very well educated in this area and she's able to help you and assist you. Let's see. I think we already talked about, but we want to do it again. How can the viewers contact you?
Okay. And I wanted to point out if you go on donatelife.org and you can't find the register link, it's also you can try registerme.org. But if you email me, I have a direct link as well. So the email again is Trish, that's TRISH at mmdfoundation.com. That's M as in Mary, M as in Mary, D as in dog, F as in fish. So foundation.com. And that all important number is 954 is the area code. That's 954 303 6053. That's 954 303 6053.
And
And all
also give
social
them
media
your,
platforms.
yes, I was just going to say, and give them all your social media. So she could be found on Facebook, Instagram. You have TikTok?
Yes, I have to get better with TikTok, but yes, I have them all. And
I didn't know you had TikTok or not, but yes, definitely follow
someone,
Trish.
yes, if even if you go to Facebook or whichever social media handle, I'm under Trish Phillips or the Trish Phillips. But if you don't want to search and want to find me on TikTok, I have a link tree that's in my profile as the link that would take you to my LinkedIn page. It'll
Beautiful.
take me to the donor page, NKDO page. It has a whole list of things, the phone number, my personal email, all of that's on there.
Awesome. Awesome. So Trish, I just want to say thank you. Our time is up.
Uh,
That we bombarded you all with so much information, but this is valuable information that I want you all to take in. And like I said, I believe on tonight, again, we sow the seed, and it's
yes.
up to you all to take in that information, and go to the doctor, get checked out, try to prevent all of this from happening, dialysis and transplant. We want you all to live flourishing and healthy lives
Yes.
by taking care of yourself. I'm gonna ask you one more time, Trish. Can you give them the 2 tests that they need to request when
Okay.
they go to the doctor?
I hope you had time to get your paper and pen. So those 2 important tests, ACR, that's ACR, which is your urine test, and the blood test, which is GFR. GFR, those are the 2 simple tests. And once again, the leading cause of CKD, chronic kidney disease, is high blood pressure, diabetes, and being obese, overweight. So if we can get a handle on those, that can help prevent. And don't be afraid to ask family members and friends. And contact me if you need help on how to ask people for donating. Have a networking system. Wearing Your Truth. It's a person I net with, a company, and she has amazing things for us. If you just don't want to walk around asking, like their shirts, their bumper stickers, and it's real good quality content stuff.
Awesome, awesome. And I've actually heard of her as well. And
Mm-hmm.
don't let me tell you, don't automatically feel that people are not going to donate or they don't care. It's a lot of people out there. There's a lot of
Yes.
superheroes out there that are waiting to help. They want to do something. I know one of the other donors, she's like, God, I want to do something special in the earth. I want to touch somebody's life. And she gave to a total stranger, and now they're actually friends.
Oh,
They
I've
ended up
met
at a
them from
yes,
you. Yes.
yes, they ended up at a wedding together, and
Mm-hmm.
she was just asking questions. And the lady
Mm-hmm.
didn't even believe her. But just like you said, a closed mouth don't get
Don't
fed.
get fed.
Don't
That's what I was
automatically,
saying.
yeah, don't count yourself out. Don't automatically assume that people don't care about what you're going through and people won't help. You actually have dynamic superheroes out there that are willing
Amen.
to
Yes.
save a life by giving a life. So listen, y'all, I thank you all so
And
much
we'll be
for
back in August.
in
It's
August.
National
Absolutely.
Multicultural/Minority Month. And
Absolutely.
it won't be just me. I'm going to try to get my staff on the
And listen,
board and
it's even
staff.
better when she have the staff because you get a chance to hear from not only the donor but from the recipient and those that are
I'm going to
advocating. It's an
I'm gonna
awesome,
hide
awesome
out.
ordeal.
I'm gonna this time I'm gonna hide under the table because everyone knows me. I'm gonna let my staff take full charge of it.
Awesome. Awesome. Beautiful. And I'm telling y'all, it's an awesome thing to hear from the staff because, like I said, you have your recipients, you have your donors. Who else do you have? The ambassadors, those
Yes.
that are actually out there, should I say, in the trenches of organ donation and kidney health that are dealing hands on with patients and clients that are, and family members and families that are
Mhm.
dealing with uh, people or loved ones that are going through this. So,
Yes.
Trish, thank you so much. I
Well,
told you, you're a
thank
special
you.
kind of person.
And you are a special kind of person too.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
again
much.
for granting me with your platform. It's always a
Absolutely.
pleasure and an honor. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you for supporting me all these years.
You're welcome. Well deserved. Well deserved. And listen, everybody, that's it. It's 8:58. I ended 2 minutes before the 9 o'clock hour, top of the hour. So we're gonna say good night to everybody. And once again, Trish, thank you so much. If you have any more questions or concerns, listen, I will put Trish's number and information in the chat so you'll be able to have access to that once we go off live. You can always watch the replay. God bless you all and have a great night.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.